Hello friends, I'm starting my day at Arbor Day Nursery out in Riverton. I'm here to pick up some materials for my project house where we're going to be working on the front yard beautification project. Looking at the different types of materials that they offer here at Arbor Day, there's lots of choices to look at. Each one of these materials has a different purpose, and again, for today's purpose, it's a cosmetic situation rather than a soil building necessarily. So today we are going to choose the red cedar bark mulch, this material, and it is $55 per yard. And here is Pam. She is the manager of Arbor Day, and she's going to get me loaded up with 2 cubic yards of bark, which is basically 1 scoop is 1 cubic yard. So here comes the first one. And it's always a little nerve-wracking when a driver is loading your truck, but Pam is an awesome operator. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she does a great job. So she's loading the first cubic yard into the truck. Now you have to be careful with the type of materials that you put into a pickup truck, especially a half-ton. Bark is very light, so 2 scoops or 2 cubic yards is not a heavy load for a pickup. And she's going for the second load. Last year, I got many loads, and I ended up with getting a different material, a topsoil. Didn't realize how heavy that was going to be, and as she dumped the second scoop into my truck, my bed sunk down to the tires, and it's kind of a white knuckle drive all the way home as I could hear metal scraping. So you always got to be careful on how heavy you load up your truck. So here she comes with the second load, and she'll get me topped off, and then we'll be heading over to the project house to unload and to start applying the mulch to the landscaping. And again, she's very skillful in what she does, and I always level off the truck with a rake or a shovel just to make sure that I'm not blowing bark all over the road. And other drivers don't seem to like that too much when their cars are getting pelted by a bunch of material. Okay, we've reached the project house with our 2 cubic yards of cedar bark. I'm using Home Depot 5-gallon buckets to move the bark around. I find it easier than trying to maneuver a wheelbarrow through a maze of landscaping. Here we see how the yard looked before we started installing the bark. As you see, there's places where there's bare dirt. There's starting to see landscape fabric that's tore up, that's old. Now I could go through here and tear all of this stuff out, but then I'd have to be dealing with the plantings and removing them and putting them back in. And it's just the homeowner wants to have a decorative improvement, not just to rip everything out. So what we're doing is we're just showing you here that there's lots of landscape fabric in places. It's torn, it's frazzled, it's blown away, but it's going to be interesting to see how this project looks as we progress. Now, you're going to see a transition here from what the old to the new, because I have installed a little bit of bark in this video footage, so you can see already how much better that looks with just a little bit of bark. Now, the star of the show, I'm putting myself in this video to make sure that the homeowner knows it's actually me working, that I'm actually doing something and not just hiring somebody else to do my manual labor. But as you see, I'm loading into the 5-gallon buckets because, again, they're much easier to maneuver through the yard than trying to get a wheelbarrow around rocks and over curbing and things like that. I want you to really notice the technique I'm using here, whereas I almost get about 1/3 of the material actually in the buckets. So I just want you to know that takes skill. It took a long time to master that craft. But again, I only scoop about 10 extra scoops to fill those buckets that are necessary, but I clean it up later. So it's sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So again, great fits of strength, carrying this heavy bark through the yard. I just want you to see how those are so heavy, and you see how light they are in my hands. So I just want you to know how strong I am. as well as I use the most modern tools available. I use the foot technique. My feet are the best spreader of mulch, as you see, as I'm figuring this out here. Now I found $20. Don't tell the homeowner. I put that in my pocket, so he doesn't need to know that. So make sure you keep that to yourself. No, really, anytime I find garbage, I always shove it in my pocket, and I always end up at home with a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really want in the laundry when I forget to remove it from the pants pocket. So anyway, I'm going to show a little more action footage and talk a little bit about why cedar bark and why not other materials. Now, if we were to use other materials like stone or gravel or things like that, the problem you have is that it's so heavy and it's very unforgiving. So if you put that material down, you basically own that material. You're not going to be able to do anything with it unless it's a major job to remove it. And also, once you get weeds and things in that gravel, you're going to have to use chemical sprays to try to kill them, and it's just not a healthy way to garden. That's not what I want to do. Again, I'm using bark mulch just as a decorative feature over some existing landscape issues. Bark does deteriorate. It is something that you're going to have to continue to bring new bark in to refresh. If this was a vegetable bed, I would use a different type of bark to use rather than just cedar. I would use more of the tree trimming bark. It's much better of a breakable, compostable material. Breakdown's better, more healthy for the soil. But in this case, I'm just covering stuff up. This is just to make it look nice. Now, as you can see, just in a few scoopfuls of buckets, how much of a difference as you're just pouring this stuff on. Now, I need to add more and more over time. And again, every year we'll need to add more bark just to keep it spruced up. Again, a truckload's about $117 with tax, so it is a little bit of work, and it is a little bit of money. But in the end, it is really, it's a maintenance thing, and as you'll see at the end of this video, that the look of this material is pretty outstanding, and it makes it look a lot nicer. Again, just keep on scooping, keep on scooping. It takes me about an hour probably to move the material from the truck to the beds, depending upon how far I have to go. So in this particular case, it's very close, so I can do it a little quicker. The video and slowed me down a little bit, but again, I'm learning some new technology too in doing this vlog, and I'm having fun with it. So, but as you see here, the bark spread out on this hill. Bark will tend to hold on a little bit better once it's wet. It doesn't blow so much in the breeze. It is a little bit of a challenge to get landscaping material to stick on a hill, but we'll just keep adding more and more until there's a good base at the bottom, and it'll just kind of hold it all up as we go. In dealing with bark mulch, though, there's one important thing to remember. Okay, bark mulch should always remain on the surface of the soil. When you're planting new plants, you should remove the bark, dig your hole, plant your plant with your compost or whatever you're going to use, and then after you've planted what you wanted to add, go ahead and pull the bark mulch back. Never mix bark mulch into your soil, because what will happen is as the soil tries to break that material down, it'll bind up all the nitrogen in your soil. So therefore, don't ever do that. Now here we got Amazon Prime checking us out, and then as we see, there's some paparazzi coming up behind me here. The neighborhood is not used to the homeowner actually doing much in the yard, so when they see me out here actually working, I look similar to the homeowner, but they're kind of confused as to what's all this work going on in this yard, and I think that they notice that it's not him at this point. So anyway, no, the homeowner's a hard-working dude. He's just always out work, so that's why I'm here. I've got to help him a little bit because he's helping me, and I want to do the best I can for him in exchange for him allowing me to garden in his expansive backyard. Due to all the paparazzi that's starting to hang out, I decided to put my mask on to be COVID safe and make sure that everybody's taken care of. But in reality, cedar bark mulch is the dusty, nasty stuff. And it's not something you want to breathe in. I don't believe it's the most healthy of materials to be using just for breathing in. So sometimes when the winds are blowing, you got to put your mask on just to make sure that you're going to stay healthy and you're not going to get sick. You'll get some upper respiratory type of issues. You see here, I'm about halfway done with the material. Again, I wanted to prove to the homeowner that it is me working throughout the process. So this is the middle part of the process. I'm getting a little tired. As you see, I'm getting a little dirty, but I'm getting her done. So that's all that matters is you got to keep on swimming. Well, I'm getting close to the end. As you see, I'm still very agile at my young age, and I'm able to get up in there and get the rest of the bark cleaned up out of the truck. As you see, it's pretty windy, breezy, lots of dust, so that mask is definitely, it's not a curse today. It's definitely something that's helping me out. And again, I am, as you see me knocking stuff over, I am showing my agility at my young age. Well, about pulled a hamstring on that one, but you know, I kind of figured at the end I'm getting a little tired, and you know, I've already dumped most of the bark on the ground, missing the buckets anyway, so what the heck, might as well just shove the rest of it onto the ground. The homeowner won't notice, I don't think. So anyway, got to clean up the process in all seriousness, and all the bark on the ground, I end up scraping into buckets and cleaning it up and using it all in the yard. I'm not going to clean the back of the truck up too much because I've got another load. I've got at least one more load I've got to do just to do the front yard here. There'll be more to come on other parts of the yard, but we need to get started on planting the vegetable garden, and so that'll be what I focus on in the upcoming videos. But here we go. You see how clean and well kept I am at my job site, and I'm getting loaded up. And I'm getting ready to get the heck out of Dodge. So I'm tired. I've done my duty, and I'm getting out of here. Now let's see what we accomplished. Much better. That red bark cedar mulch just makes the yard pop. And the style of this home is the perfect style of home for this type of an application. Again, it wasn't a major tear out. This is something that cost maybe $250 in materials, a couple hours, 3 hours of labor, driving and obtaining the material. But you can really spruce up your yard with just a little bit of money and a little bit of effort, and you can sure make it look nice. I appreciate you watching this video, and if you'd like to follow me on my journey, please hit subscribe and like and share. Thank you. Have a great day.